We are also live on our Facebook, that is CAT TV Kenya, and you can also stream live on our YouTube channel. My name is Cornelius Omuse, and I welcome you to join us on this powerful discussion. Gentlemen, welcome on the show.
Thank you.
We will not shake hands because you know what is happening. It's just part of adhering of the corona issue.
Yes.
Briefly tell us what is happening in your place and also what is happening in your place as far as corona menace is concerned.
Corona has brought a culture change that has not been there before. You know, as Kenyans and Africans, we like exchanging greetings by shaking hands. And if someone doesn't shake your hand, you a little bit become uneasy about that. So it's a new culture that we are experiencing. My only worry is that if it's gonna proceed even after the corona has been treated, I don't know if that culture will continue. Secondly, there's also the installation of hand sanitizers, which actually has at least improved the general hygiene of the people. And third, it has brought a sense of unification amongst Kenyans, and not just Kenyans, but the entire globe. We feel like we belong to a human community and a human family, facing the same threat, facing the same, of course, facing the same threats. So it's a unification factor in some way. But my prayer is that we're able to find the cure, maybe task the University of Nairobi and the University of Kenyatta University School of Medicine, task them to see whether we can also join other world ventures in terms of finding the cure for this, as opposed to closing universities.
Many thanks, Mr. Milton. Mr. Mark Vivian, how about your locality and the places that you've interacted with fellow Kenyans?
It goes without say that we are social beings. And as a social being, we love to interact with each other. So the menace, the pandemic of coronavirus has really destabilized the way of our interaction, the way we are doing our things. But again, I believe it's also a wake-up call for us as Kenyans, especially, because it's a global thing. But realize right now, there is nobody who will want to go and seek treatment anywhere else. All of us are concentrated on receiving treatment in our own locality. So this should also sound some bells, that it's high time that we really need to work on our health facilities, so that not just for the coronavirus pandemic, but for any other disease that any Kenyan, any government official may be suffering from, we may have equipment, we may have resources that are well versed to handling such a kind of the things. So you realize this coronavirus is bringing like equity as far as medical attention is concerned. So let all those policymakers, and I thank God I have my brother Michelle here, let us now work on strategies that are going to empower our facilities, our health facilities, so that when anyone is facing any kind of ailment, should not think about going abroad, but should just have trust and faith in the equipment and the facilities that we have at hand.
Yeah. Many thanks, gentlemen.
And maybe to say, you know, like we should not like treat it with so much threats. Like when I walked through the gate, I got sanitizer. When I walked through the stairs, I got sanitizer. When I was in the office, I got sanitizer. So I believe everybody is here with such a, we should not fear greeting hands. We should not fear. We should only fear when we walk in places where we feel the general hygiene has not been catered for. When we walk in places where we feel there's no such a kind of sanitization. And my plea goes to the entire nation, that if you have sanitizer, share with the one who doesn't have. Because by you just keeping it in your bag and denying the next person sitting to you the same, you're also making yourself more vulnerable to it. So when we go even in the supermarkets, and we buy everything there. So if I have like 20 liters of sanitizer in my house, and my 5 neighbors don't have, then I'm still at risk. So let us learn to share the little that we have, and also make sure that each one around us is taking that precaution.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I see you're so much deep in it until I was starting to think, can we jump the fence? But that was not for today. Now, back to our topic. We are here to do politics and to look into matters politics. After the handshake, there have been so many developments on the political arena in the country. And one politician has been on the receiving end, and this is the deputy president. Before reggae was stopped temporarily, something had come up where you saw members of parliament allied to Raila and those allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta came up with a debate to do with impeachment of the deputy president. Before we sink deep into this matter, DP himself has been out saying that there is no rift between him and the president and that there are few individuals who are working tireless to put them apart. So in one word, both of you, do you think the DP is genuine on this matter?
It's quite clear that there is a rift in the executive. You remember the history of it is that in 2013, Ruto was running on URP and the president was running on TNA. But when it came to 2017, these two parties merged and they formed one party. And it brought about 14 parties together so that they could form the next government, of which they successfully did. And you also remember 2017, 2018, there was good rapport. Even public relation was very good between the president and the deputy president. But now problem came March 9, when the famous or infamous handshake took place. You found that Raila came in on board and he said that we have, for the sake of the unification of the country, we have decided to shake hands. And it was good for the country, which was experiencing a lot of turmoil, political turmoil then. But if you look at it from a political point of view, this was the torpedo that sank the Jubilee boat. The torpedo that made sure that Ruto is out of the picture. If you were to look at it keenly, you will realize that it is a technique that Raila has used over and over again, even in times past. You remember when his party LDP joined KANU, and he, of course, wanted to ruin part of KANU.
The issue of the cock sawing a tractor, and then later on the tractor ran on the cock.
Yeah, that is why he gave the famous statement that Jogo alimeza tinga kasahau kuzima engine. Yeah, so it is the same scenario that was replaying itself in 2000 and the March of 2018. So basically, if you look at it keenly, is that the rift is there. Even the functions that the president is attending, you will not see the vice president. Like today, there was a press conference. You didn't see the vice president there. On the issue of corona, he must have. It is expected that he should be there with the president, or even issuing a statement on behalf of the government, the way he did some time back. But he's quiet. He's very silent about it. That means that the brotherly romance that was there between them is no longer there. And that points to the fact that indeed there is a rift.
So there's that indication. Let's hear from Mr. Vincent whether it is true or the DP is right that bado ule undugu uko intact.
I agree with the DP that the brotherhood is still intact. The brotherhood is still intact. I believe what the rift that is in between president and his deputy is political rift. But the brotherhood, it is still there.
Initially, the brotherhood was a political brotherhood, ama hii ndugu kama yako na Milton.
I think politics is an animal that full of conflicts. It's an animal that if it's not viewed with a microscopic observation, you may think people are enemies, you may think people are way apart, but trust to me, I'm yet to see a declaration made by Ruto himself, made by the president, that we are no longer at ease working together. And I believe that will be a paradigm shift that is going to change the landscape of the politics as far as the DP and the president is there. What if this is also a tactic that it wants to silence some critics, take them back to their bedroom to sleep, and then when they hit so hard to the point that nobody is there to recover. Because we don't have just to ignore and say there is a brotherhood and a rift. That's what I'm saying. In political arena, in the political officials, there's a rift. But does it mean that these people don't communicate? Does it mean these people don't meet? Does it mean that these people are now total enemies? These people, they may be playing a game to us. And I will tell you that for free. Because at the end of the day, we must know the clarity of everything. But once the DP has come out, and again, even if there is that rift, you don't expect at this particular time and point DP to come out and say there is a rift. Still, we have to know that they were elected into the office as a presidency. Secondly, President Uhuru Kenyatta is still the boss. So you as a junior staff, when the day DP will come to the public and say there is a rift, then that is the day he may be stating to us that I'm resigning and I feel I can no longer work together with the president because there is no understanding, there is no correlationship, there is no working relationship between us. That is my point of...
I just want to add, or rather to make some few clarifications. My brother says that there is no rift. You know, when you have married and your wife is being hunted by the neighbors, do you keep quiet?
We are coming there, Mr. Milton. We are almost coming there. Now, there is something that Milton and Mark Vivian came up with, talking of until the president speaks and until the DP speaks from their mouth. Lakini kuna two msemos in Kiswahili and in English, ya kwamba when you see a dog barking in a neighborhood, then be very sure that the owner is around or it has an owner. And another one says that hakufukuzae hakuambii toka, where they say matendo ni zaidi ya maneno. Doesn't this apply in this matter? Look at the body language of DP in Solai the other day.
And maybe if I go back to you, the analogy of the dog. Sometimes it's not just about the owner is present. The dog may be barking because there is a stranger in the vicinity. The owner may be sleeping, but there is a stranger in the vicinity. So let us also have the other side of the coin. And they say, somebody, when you lift a coin before two people, one person will say, I'm seeing a tail, another one will say, I'm seeing a dog. So none of them is wrong. It depends where they are standing from. It depends where they are standing from. The one who stands on the side of the tail, if we say I'm seeing a tail, he's very right. The one standing on the side of the head tells you I'm seeing the head. They are both right. But the thing is now, we have to dissect and understand these two people. When are we waiting? Because when we go back and see how Moi downplayed everything, when he came to appointing the deputy, his the then vice president, the late Professor Joyce Saitoti, may so rest in peace, and by then Uhuru Kenyatta. You see, he stated it very clearly that for me, when it comes to politics, it's not about friendship, it's not brotherhood, because if it's political friendship, then Saitoti is my friend. But when it comes to the leaders' matters of national interest, then I feel Uhuru qualified to be the president of this country. And you see, for him, he came out boldly, openly, and declared his stand. So for me, I'm also looking at that stance. When will it be appropriate for any one of them to come out and say, the way I'm seeing things are happening, then I feel I'm no longer needed.
So you believe in that? You believe in that school of thought?
Because one.
Yeah.
One. What if someone is testing your loyalty? What if somebody is testing, can you withstand the test of time? And then you run and make rash decisions. Who will it cost? It's going to cost the DP. Nobody else. You know, whatever is happening right now, it is a trap. It's either whether DP remains silent, it also paints him another picture. Whether he speaks, it paints him another picture. So it is him to know which card to display right now and which card not to display right now. Because in either way, it's a statement. Whether in silence, whether in speaking, it's a statement in itself. So the thing is, when is appropriate time for him to make a very clear statement to the public and to his boss? Thank you.
Now, let's look at the chronology of events, Mr. Milton and Mr. McVivian. How it began. It began with the Wetangula. You remember when he was still in the formally called He began with the impeachment of President Uhuru Kenyatta, which flopped. Orengo came up again, he was mentioning Uhuru Kenyatta. The other day you see the campus come up with the issue of impeaching the deputy president. And I want us to go deep now, leaving aside all political matters. Let's look into what the law says, the grounds for impeachment of the deputy president, and see whether he has flouted any of the above. The first ground is the gross violation of the Constitution. Mr. Milton, where do you think, according to the argument of this group, where do you think the deputy president has violated the Constitution?
Chapter 9 of the Constitution about the executive is crystal clear about the processes of removal of a deputy president. Of course, the first grounds it talks about is mental incapability, mental or physical incapacitation. So if the vice president has been maybe diagnosed psychologically and fit to be a deputy president, that is sufficient grounds. But you see, our deputy president has not been diagnosed by that. The second ground for removal, it talks about crimes. If the National Assembly finds that there are serious grounds to believe that he's been involved in criminal offenses, then that forms grounds to impeach the deputy president. And then the third ground talks about the gross violation or gross misconduct. So if you look at all those three grounds for removing the deputy president, as it stands, there is no sufficient grounds to actually initiate the motion to remove him from office.
That is as per you, Milton Lucheri.
I'm talking as a political analyst and also a student of law. There is no grounds sufficient for that. You understand that the processes that led to those kind of remarks from James Orengo came at the backdrop of the death of Kenei. You remember they said that it is his office that was responsible for the death of Kenei. And then they went ahead and quoted other reasons like corruption cases, insubordination to the to the president. You see, those kind of statements are all allegations, and they are wrapped up in politics. They are not legal, empirically tested grounds that can be said, indeed, these are factual matters that can form sufficient ground for the removal of the vice president. And you see, the law does not state one by one the offenses under which the deputy president can be removed from office. It doesn't say if you are insubordinate to the president, you'll be removed from office. Or it doesn't say if you are engaged in corruption. It doesn't say that. It just puts a blanket statement, gross violation of the law or gross misconduct. You see, that is a very loose term. So you can use it the way you want. And that is why, that is what the opposition are seeking to use. They're seeking to use that loose term in order to initiate that process. But initiation of that process is a very cumbersome constitutional process. You wouldn't want to take that route if you were to remove the deputy president from office because of the nitty-gritties involved in that. You have to have a third of the member of National Assembly, and the third is about 115 members, to just move the motion. And then once you've moved the motion, it has to be voted for by at least 230 members of parliament. That is a third of the parliament. After that, then the Speaker of the National Assembly must notify the Speaker of the Senate within 2 days that we have passed a motion of no confidence in the deputy president. And then that initiates another process at the Senate. And here the Senate will form a committee of inquiry to to look into the conduct of the deputy president.
Many thanks, Mr. Milton. Let's briefly hear from Bwana McVivian whether those three grounds, if the deputy president has violated any.
You know, one thing I say, it's very clear as a political analyst, the way my brother said, and as a student of law, that we have to understand, and the law states very clearly, he who comes to seek justice must come with clean hands. The people who want to impeach the deputy president, Are they coming with clean hands? Are they coming with clean conscience? Because Chapter 9 is very clear, and Article 150, it's very clear. And realize when you talk about impeaching the Deputy President, when you end there, it also gives you reference to the same Chapter 9, the executive orders and the executive, and also the Article 144 and Article 145.
Without divulging deeper, because of time, do those three grounds, has the DP violated any, yes or no?
It's an assumption. It's an assumption.
We are coming into that. We go for a short break. Mr. Milton and Mr. Mark Vivian are saying it as it is, politically, legally, and contextually. Remember to engage us on our social media platforms. Our Facebook is CAC TV Kenya, Twitter, CAC TV _Kenya, and also you can stream live on our YouTube channel. Keep it on CAC TV.
Are you looking for a reputable school to guide you in pursuing your dreams in nursing? Look no further. PCA Kikuyu Hospital School of Nursing is accredited by the Nursing Council of Kenya to offer Diploma in Community Health Nursing. With a mean grade of C plane and above, we will walk with you through your journey to pursue your dreams. We are located in a serene environment conducive for learning. At the heart of Kikuyu Sub-County neighboring Alliance Boys and Girls School, we also pride ourselves for having a fully equipped modern library with e-learning facilities, qualified and committed lecturers, comfortable and learning-friendly lecture rooms. At the state-of-the-art Skills Lab, spacious student hostel with excellent accommodation facilities, and chaplaincy staff at the hand for spiritual and pastoral care. April 2020 intake is currently ongoing. To register, apply to the principal, PCA Kikuyu Hospital School of Nursing, through email nursing@pcakikuyuhospital.org. For more information, call the numbers on your screen.
Have you ever dreamed or imagined of owning a prime property in the fastest growing areas in Kenya today? The PCEA Cooperative Society Limited is making your dreams come true. We have plots along Kangunda Road at Kantafu, Juja Farm and Thika Municipality. All the plots have ready title deeds and are ready for development. For booking and reservation, call us on 0708-145-222 or shoot us an email at pceahousingltd@gmail.com. PCEA Housing Cooperative Society Limited is turning your dreams into a reality.
We are back. Many thanks for tuning in to Power Brief on CAC TV. Things are hot tonight because even looking at your responses on our social media platforms, it is wow. All over the world, we are looking into this matter of impeachment debate of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Two able gentlemen are in the house. That is Mr. Milton Lucheri, who is a political and a policy analyst. We are also privileged to have Mr. Mark Vivian Vincent, who is a political analyst and a political consultant. Gentlemen, before we broke, fire had been lit and we were looking whether it is true the Deputy President has violated any part of the Kenyan laws, and both of you had spoken that there is nothing as such. Now, moving forward, do we really need this impeachment of the Deputy President, or there are better things or better ways of approaching it? Beginning with Mr. Milton.
Thank you, Cornelius. You see, even the origination of the impeachment motion is political. So this is just politics taking place. What now is the best way forward? For me, I don't think this motion needs to be filed in the National Assembly because number one, it's a self-defeatist motion. It's gonna fail on arrival. I'm not just saying that, but I'm just looking at the number of members of parliament that the Deputy President has vis-a-vis the number of member of parliament that the President and of course ODM have.
Don't you believe in the narrative that 20 seconds can do anything in politics? Mark Vivian will tell us something about that. Anyway.
Yeah, so basically, actually, there's no need for this motion. I think what needs to be done is to have the president stamping his authority about this issue and becoming the president that he ought to be. At this particular point in time is that the office of the vice president is under threat from outside forces, and it is the duty of the president to come and protect his deputy vice president, because for the sake that they were elected on the same ticket, and also for the stability and cooling down of temperatures, political temperatures in the country, the president needs to come out and solve this issue. He needs to call the deputy president, and also he needs to call the Raila Odinga and discuss this issue, so that at least we have a more sane country, even towards the 2022 deadline. So for me, I don't think the impeachment motion is necessary. Yeah.
So in other words, you're trying to say that this impeachment motion and other lamentations that the deputy president has been bringing forth can be a threat to peace and stability moving forward to 2022?
Yes, most definitely. You know, this motion has been informed by so many things, and one of them is the BBI process that's going on. Both parties were comfortable with the first BBI, the one that we were introduced to at the bombers of Kenya. And therefore there was no need for sensitization. But now problem came in with the second BBI, the BBI 2, where there are hidden agenda that have been introduced secretly into this report. And that is where the problem is. You remember the politics around BBI got to a fever pitch point such that some rallies were cancelled. The Eldoret rally was cancelled. The Nakuru rally was postponed severally. So that was just feeding into the political temperatures, which was actually taking a negative direction. Thank God that the coronavirus came and actually stopped these political temperatures from escalating any further. So were we to continue in that kind of a projection, then they should have just spiraled out of control. Therefore, it's necessary that the president, at this particular point in time, for the sake of the stability of the country, call the deputy president, call Mr. Raila Odinga and his associate, and tone down the temperatures of this question. Yeah.
Many thanks, Mr. Milton. Mr. Mark Vivian, should the reggae debate and impeachment continue?
I would love to see a showdown. Let it carry on. Let it take place. And I'll tell you, this is one of the greatest foundation. This will be the cornerstone of making the deputy president rise into power. Trust me.
You want him to rise to power?
If the Kenyans say yes, who am I to say no? I only have one vote, and my vote will be cast in the secret ballot. But I'm saying this without fear of contradiction, that if this motion is taken to the floor, and with all the due process, the legal process are concerned are going to be followed, trust me, by the time everything falls apart, DP's name will be far and beyond than any other person. Why? We are only looking at the process taking place in the parliament, but we forget we have systems that are also stakeholders and key players. And you see, many of the times when you talk about system, people are just looking at the deep state. They forget in the line of the system, we have the deep state, yes. These are people close to the president. We have the civil service, the senior civil service. We have the county administrations. We have the KDF. We have the CS. We have now the parliament. We have the judiciary. All these are systems. So you can't tell me all these systems have this own deputy president. So when you're bringing in your showdown, trust me, you're just reneging the support, the machineries, the people who can go out there and stand and say, you are just victimizing our own. This is not just about the legal aspect of it. The political implications are far much than the legal ones. Why? Because it will be very clear, crystal clear, that it's a two-camp war. And by numbers in both houses, either the Senate or the August House, DP has numbers. And trust to me, this now is going to shape the landscape of 2022. And why is it that when we began, the BBI was to be taken to the parliament, but it was like they came and had a second thought, no, let us take to the public. Because they sat down and realized if it's taken to the parliament, whatever DP want to be passed, that's what is going to be passed. Trust to me, assume the DP has been impeached, very successfully has been impeached. He has the numbers. He will be outside but still control the parliament. Assume the DP will not be elected. We'll have the numbers. Let us not lie to ourselves. So when we want to wage war, and we see, I like it, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. He say, by the time you want to wage war, never underestimate your opponent. Never look at them as weaklings. Make sure that you rate them at a level whereby you feel they can also beat you. That will make sure you go to the war prepared. You may end up winning the battle but losing the war. So what are we? So if they want to show that DP has violated this and this and this and this, let the court decide. And once the court has decided, take it to the floor of the House. And the motion mover must be ready to have not less than a quarter just to present the paper. To move the motion, you must have the 2/3. And then to have the 230, do they have the numbers? And you see, by the time everything is taking place, trust me, things will be falling apart in one camp and falling right in the right place. Because you see, like sometimes you really need this war so that you can understand. And you see, any battle that's being brought to the doorstep of the DP, you may think you are denting him, but you're preparing him psychologically, you're making him to understand on which are the weak points. Trust me. Why is it that DP has chosen to go to the common mwananchi? Because he knows and he understands. If anything, the people who can stand with me, if people are talking about the system, the deep state, then let me first of all work my itineraries. Let my tentacles reach every other person on the grassroots, so that when I come up, and trust me, this may be a submarine. When it is going to emerge from the water, then there is something bigger than we just think. So let us stop the bickering. Let us just stop saying that we want to impeach. They wanted to impeach the president. Where did it go? Is it the saying that say, in our Africa culture, when you have food in the mouth, you don't speak? Are they eating? That's why the issue of impeaching the president stopped. We have manners. So when we are eating, we don't talk.
Thank you, Mr. Mark Vivian.
Food for thought.
To this far, Mr. Milton, do you still want the discussion to be brought on table to be solved? Let the river continue, let the reggae continue, as per Mr. Mark Vivian?
You see, for me, I gave my opinion. If I was consulted on the issue, I would still maintain my position that the president needs to bring on board the vice president and also bring on board Raila Odinga and his camp, just to cool down the temperatures of the issue. That is my position still. But if in case that Senator Orengo and his camp decide to proceed with the motion of impeachment, there's nothing as good as having options, of which the deputy president has. He has so many options, even in that case. And you heard that Gatundu member of parliament, Moses Kuria, saying that if they do that, then he will engage the Samsonic principle. They will bring down the entire house and call for a snap election, which basically is still an option. Yeah. So the deputy president has options. Even if the impeachment motion proceeds, still he has the option of either calling for a snap election through his members of parliament, of which the ODM and the camp will not agree to it. It's not something that they want. They do not want to face the voters again. So that was just a way of cooling down them and telling them, hey, you guys, if that is what you're going to do, this is what we will do. And that was just to calm them down. Of course, the other option is to resign. He has the option of coming to the president and saying that I think I felt the heat of the deep state. the heat of all these things happening.
Not by DP.
I want to resign. And you see, when you do that, number one, you are freeing yourself from all the happenings around you, and it makes you a citizen. Therefore, he's able to now concentrate on his political campaigns if he wants to look for international.
Many thanks, gentlemen.
Just to interject, you know, if Deep is watching this, if there is anything that he should never do, to resign, that is shooting himself at the foot, at the leg. And secondly, just to sum up, you realize when we are talking that the president should call the DP on the table and quench all these, the issue that is happening, the absurd thing about the deputy president is he does not have a portfolio. He cannot act unless he's being guided or being assigned by the president. So for me, I believe the DP should keep his line, should understand what his mandate, and should act appropriately. But telling me that you want the DP to resign today, he should be there. Let them sack him. But you see, the good thing is he cannot be sacked. That's the beautiful thing. But let him be there in the kitchen, let him face the heat, so that he can mature enough. And one thing I know about DP William Ruto is one person. He may be slow, but he never walked backwards.
Cornelius, you know, I made a point. I made a point, and my brother capitalized on that. I'm just raising a concern. My fellow panelist appears to be more of a politician than a political analyst. So we need to take on that. But I was just spelling out options.
Which is powerful, and we really appreciate your input, guys. Time has caught up with us, Mr. Milton and Mr. McVivian. What a combination, what a show, what a night. These are projection, an indicator of what is yet to come on Power Brief. We really appreciate your feedback, your comments, and your participation on our social media platforms. Because on Power Brief, we look into political and governance matters and current affairs matters with a third eye and bring it to you to participate and also to contribute. Till next time, for me, Cornelius Omuse, I wish you a good evening.